This Wednesday was a great night of racing at Queen City Yacht Club. The wind was both strong and shifty enough to keep us on our toes and on the rails. Keith, Liam, and I had our hands full with Warrington, the Kirby 23 skipper. We had an excellent start. Panache, one of our main rivals, was over early and had to duck back below the line to start again. Moxie started a few seconds ahead of us and got the jug. We went left while those two went right. When we came back together, we were a little behind Moxie and barely ahead of Panache on port. Any closer and we would have had to duck underneath them and fall behind. Dragonfly and Sarika were behind us. Frequent puffs and lulls often came with changes in wind direction, which made for a tricky night on the helm for me. Changes in wind speed meant that Keith was having to constantly adjust the position of the mainsail. Too much heel, leaning over, means you start moving sideways in the water rather than straight ahead. Letting out the mainsail reduces the lean, but also means that there is less power being generated by the sail's lift, so Keith was having to constantly find the balance as the conditions shifted and changed. Mark on Panache had an excellent windward beat and nearly caught up to us shortly after rounding the first mark. But on the way to the second, he could only hold his own, and by the time we got to the third mark, we had established a small lead that he was never able to close. Meanwhile, we were having a similar problem catching Moxie. He would expand his lead on the first leg of the triangle going to windward, and then we'd claw it back on the second and third legs. We were never able to quite catch him, but as long as we kept it close, we could still win thanks to the handicapping system. Theoretically, a boat like Moxie should be able to go 1 nautical mile in 193 seconds. We should do the same distance in 224 seconds. That's just because our boat's shorter, they're longer, we have different sails, and so on. That's a difference of 31 seconds per mile raced. Moxie finished 2 minutes and 4 seconds before we did, but they owe us 2 minutes and 14 seconds on a 4.3 mile race. In other words, in the end, we won the race by 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Panache got third, 2:08 behind us, corrected time. Sarika got fourth, and Dragonfly got fifth. Keith says this is the most fun he's had on a Wednesday night all year. I have to agree that this was a great night with a satisfying finish. We went back to the club for a well-earned beer. If you enjoyed watching us sail, be sure to like this video or subscribe to my channel to see more Lake Ontario racing.